Hello, and welcome. Let's talk about something that I know is on many of our minds. It often starts subtly, doesn't it? You walk into a room and completely forget why you went in there. Or you're in the middle of a wonderful story, and a familiar name, a name you've known for 50 years, suddenly vanishes from your memory. It just sits there, right on the tip of your tongue, a ghost of a word you can't quite grasp. It's frustrating. But more than that, it's a little frightening. Because these aren't just senior moments. For many of us, they feel like the first tremors of something bigger, a quiet fear that whispers, "Am I losing my edge? Am I losing me?" This fear isn't just about memory. It's about our independence. It's the fear of one day not being able to manage our own affairs, of becoming a burden to the people we love most, or worse, of our most cherished memories. The ones that make us who we are, slowly fading like old photographs left in the sun. For years, we've been told that this decline is simply an inevitable part of aging. A bill that comes due. But as a doctor who has dedicated my life to the study of the human brain, I am here to tell you that much of what we accept as inevitable is, in fact, negotiable. The real battle for our brain health, for our clarity and our memory, isn't just fought with puzzles or medication. It's fought every single day at our kitchen table. And it starts with what's in your glass. The truth is, some of the most popular, seemingly harmless drinks that many of us consume daily are actively working against our brain. They are, quite literally, brain-draining. But on the flip side, there are other, equally simple drinks that can protect it, nourish it, and help keep it sharp for decades to come. So in this video, we're going to pull back the curtain. I will share with you the 3 drinks you must avoid for your brain health, explaining exactly what they do to your delicate neural wiring. And then, I'll reveal the 3 you should be drinking daily, your brain-boosting heroes. By the end of our time together, you will have a clear, simple, and powerful plan to take back control of your cognitive health, one sip at a time. I know that even talking about this can bring up a lot of those anxieties we just mentioned. Please know that my intention here is never to cause fear. It is to give you knowledge, because knowledge is power. It puts the control right back where it belongs, in your hands. What we're going to discuss today isn't about a complicated diet or an impossible lifestyle change. It's about small, consistent choices that create profound and lasting protection for the mind you cherish. And because this is a conversation, I want it to be a two-way street. We are building a community here of people who want to age with strength, vitality, and clarity. If that sounds like you, please take a moment to click that subscribe button. It's a small act that helps us grow and reach more people just like you. And before we dive into our first brain-draining drink, I have a question. Please go down to the comments right now and tell me, what is the single biggest concern you have about your brain health as you age? Your answers are incredibly important. They guide me and ensure we're always talking about what truly matters to you. All right. Are you ready? Let's begin with the first, and perhaps most common, offender. The first drink on our list to avoid is one that lines the shelves of every supermarket and is a staple at countless family gatherings and celebrations. It's the classic sugary soda. I'm talking about colas, fruit punches, sweetened iced teas, and those fizzy drinks that taste like a sweet, liquid candy. For many of us, they are a taste of nostalgia, a simple pleasure we've enjoyed for decades without a second thought. But today, we need to give it a second thought, and a third. Because behind that sweet taste lies a direct assault on your brain's health and function. To understand why, we need to talk about something called insulin resistance. Now, you've probably heard of insulin in the context of diabetes and blood sugar. Insulin is a crucial hormone. Think of it as a key. When you eat or drink sugar, your blood sugar levels rise. Your pancreas then releases insulin, this key, which travels through your bloodstream and unlocks the doors to your body cells, allowing the sugar, or glucose, to enter and be used for energy. It's a beautiful, efficient system. But when you drink a sugary soda, you're not just having a little sugar. A single can of cola contains around 10 teaspoons of sugar. It's a massive, concentrated flood of it. Imagine sending a tidal wave of sugar into your bloodstream. Your pancreas panics and releases a huge amount of insulin to deal with the onslaught. If this happens occasionally, your body can handle it. But if you're drinking these sodas regularly, your cells become overwhelmed. They are constantly being bombarded by insulin trying to shove more and more sugar inside. Eventually, they start to ignore the signal. They become resistant to the key. This is insulin resistance. It's like someone knocking on your door so relentlessly that you finally just put in earplugs and pretend they're not there. So what does this have to do with your brain? Your brain is the most energy-hungry organ in your body, consuming about 20% of your total glucose. It needs that sugar for energy. But here's the critical part. Your brain cells also need insulin's key to let that glucose in. When your body, including your brain, becomes insulin resistant, your brain cells start to starve, even in a sea of available sugar. They can't get the fuel they need to function properly. This can lead directly to that feeling of brain fog, poor concentration, and, over time, a significant decline in memory and cognitive function. In fact, some scientists are now referring to Alzheimer's disease as type 3 diabetes, because the link between brain insulin resistance and cognitive decline is so strong. Top of this, that huge sugar rush triggers another enemy of the brain, inflammation. Think of it like a constant low-grade fire throughout your body and your brain. This chronic inflammation damages brain cells and the delicate blood vessels that supply them with oxygen and nutrients. It also reduces a critical protein called BDNF, which stands for brain-derived neurotrophic factor. I like to call BDNF miracle grow for your brain. It helps you grow new neurons and form new connections, which is the very foundation of learning and memory. Sugar-induced inflammation effectively throws water on that miracle grow. I want you to imagine this for a moment. You're having a busy day. Maybe you're looking after the grandkids, and by 3 p.m., you feel that familiar slump. You reach for that cold, fizzy soda, and for a few minutes, you feel a lift. But what's really happening? You've just sent that tidal wave of sugar crashing into your system. An hour later, after the initial high, your energy crashes even harder. You feel foggy, maybe a little irritable, and you can't focus on the book you were trying to read. That's not just getting older. That is the direct, real-time effect of that drink on your brain chemistry. You are literally experiencing the start of that brain-starving, inflammatory process. The solution here is wonderfully simple, though I know it's not always easy. The first step is awareness. Start reading the labels on your favorite drinks. You'll be shocked at how much added sugar is hiding in things that sound healthy, like bottled iced teas or flavored waters. The most powerful action you can take is to simply begin to replace them. Don't feel you have to go cold turkey tomorrow. Start by swapping one sugary drink a day for a glass of plain water, or a sparkling water with a squeeze of fresh lemon or lime. This isn't about deprivation. It's about a conscious, loving choice to protect the most valuable asset you have. So, you've decided to cut back on sugar, which is a fantastic step. Naturally, you reach for the diet, zero sugar, or light version of your favorite soda, or you start adding those little packets of colorful artificial sweeteners to your coffee or tea. It feels like a smart, health-conscious choice. No sugar, no calories, all the sweetness. For decades, we've been marketed this as the guilt-free solution. But a growing body of research is painting a very different, and frankly, very concerning picture for our brains. The problem lies with the artificial sweeteners themselves. Compounds like aspartame, sucralose, and saccharin. These are not food. They are man-made chemical compounds, hundreds of times sweeter than sugar, designed to trick our taste buds. And they do that very well. But they also trick our brains and our bodies, and this deception has serious consequences. Let's explore the first major issue, the disruption of your gut-brain axis. Now, that might sound complex, but the idea is simple. You have a vast, intricate ecosystem of trillions of bacteria living in your gut, known as your microbiome. Think of it as a hidden internal garden. When this garden is healthy and balanced, it plays a huge role in your overall well-being, including your mental health. It helps produce neurotransmitters like serotonin and dopamine, which regulate your mood, focus, and feelings of happiness. There is a constant, two-way communication highway between your gut and your brain. Here's where artificial sweeteners cause trouble. Studies have shown that these sweeteners can significantly alter the balance of your gut microbiome. They can kill off the good bacteria and allow the bad bacteria to flourish. It's like pouring weed killer on the flowers in your garden and fertilizer on the weeds. When this delicate ecosystem is thrown out of whack, that communication highway to the brain starts sending distress signals. This can lead to increased inflammation, higher levels of anxiety, and even contribute to depressive symptoms. That feeling of being off, that low mood you can't quite shake? It could be linked to what's happening in your gut, triggered by these supposedly harmless sweeteners. The second issue is a bit of a paradox. You drink a diet soda to avoid the effects of sugar, but these sweeteners may actually worsen your desire for it. When your tongue tastes that intense sweetness, it sends a signal to your brain saying, "Energy is coming. Get ready." The brain prepares for a rush of glucose. But then, nothing arrives. No calories, no energy. Your brain is left confused and unsatisfied. It feels cheated. This can lead to a phenomenon where your brain begins to dissociate the taste of sweet from actual caloric intake. The result? You may start craving even more sweets and sugary foods to get the satisfaction your brain was promised but never received. Over time, this can lead to weight gain and the very same insulin resistance we were trying to avoid in the first place. Imagine this scenario. A friend, let's call her Mary, has been trying to manage her weight and her blood sugar for years. Her doctor told her to cut down on sugar, so she diligently switched to diet sodas. She has one every afternoon. She thinks she's making the healthy choice. But lately, she's noticed her sweet cravings are worse than ever, especially in the evening. She feels a persistent low-level anxiety she can't explain, and her digestion just seems off. She attributes all of this to stress or just getting older. She would never suspect that the healthy diet drink she faithfully consumes every day is the very thing contributing to her cravings, disrupting her mood, and throwing her internal garden into chaos. There was even a very large, reputable study, part of the Framingham Heart Study, that found people who drank one or more artificially sweetened sodas per day were nearly 3 times as likely to develop a stroke or dementia compared to those who didn't. 3 times. That's not a number we can afford to ignore. So, the takeaway here is that the diet option is not a free pass. It's a chemical deception that can disrupt your biology on a fundamental level. Again, the solution is to move towards real, whole, and natural. Instead of a diet soda, try infusing a pitcher of water with slices of orange and a sprig of mint. Or explore unsweetened herbal teas, which come in a wonderful variety of flavors. This isn't just about avoiding a negative, it's about actively choosing to give your body and brain something that truly nourishes it, without the trickery. Now we arrive at a topic that can be sensitive, because for many of us, a glass of wine with dinner or a beer with friends is a deeply ingrained ritual. It's a symbol of relaxation, of socializing, of winding down at the end of a long day. And for years, we've even heard about the potential heart benefits of moderate red wine consumption. Because of this, it can be difficult to confront the growing scientific consensus about what alcohol, especially as we age, does to our brains. Let's be very clear. I am not talking about a zero-tolerance, complete prohibition approach for everyone. The key word we must focus on is excessive. The problem is that what constitutes excessive for an aging brain is far less than what most people think. As our bodies change, our ability to metabolize alcohol decreases. A drink that had little effect on you at 40 can have a much more potent impact at 65 or 70. The first and most direct effect of alcohol is that it is a neurotoxin. That means it is directly poisonous to your brain cells. When you drink alcohol, it travels through your bloodstream and easily crosses the blood-brain barrier, that protective fortress designed to keep harmful substances out. Once inside, it wreaks havoc in several ways. It interferes with the communication pathways between brain cells, which is why we experience slurred speech, slowed reaction times, and blurred memory after drinking. While these effects are temporary, repeated, chronic exposure causes lasting damage. Specifically, alcohol has a devastating effect on the hippocampus, your brain's memory-making headquarters. It's the region responsible for converting short-term experiences into long-term memories. Heavy alcohol use can actually cause this vital area to shrink. Think about that for a moment. The very structure in your brain that holds onto precious memories of your wedding day, your children's laughter, your proudest moments, is physically damaged and reduced in size by excessive drinking. This isn't just about forgetting where you put your keys. It's about compromising the very architecture of your life story. Beyond this direct toxicity, Alcohol disrupts one of the most fundamental processes for brain health: sleep. Many people use alcohol as a sleep aid. They have a nightcap because they believe it helps them fall asleep faster. And it does. Alcohol is a sedative, so it can certainly knock you out. But the quality of the sleep you get is abysmal. Alcohol suppresses REM sleep, which is the stage of sleep crucial for memory consolidation, learning, and emotional processing. It's during REM sleep that your brain cleans house, filing away important information and clearing out metabolic debris. Imagine your brain is a library. During the day, people come in, read books, and leave them all over the tables. A good night's sleep is when the diligent night shift librarians come in, carefully put every book back in its correct place on the shelves, and sweep the floors. When you drink alcohol before bed, it's like locking those librarians out. You fall asleep, but you wake up in the morning and the library is still a mess. The books are all over the place, the trash hasn't been taken out. You feel groggy, unfocused, and mentally cluttered, because your brain never got the chance to perform its essential overnight maintenance. Do this night after night, and the library becomes chaotic, disorganized, and eventually dysfunctional. Let's picture a gentleman. We'll call him Robert. He's retired, and his ritual is to have 2 or 3 glasses of whiskey every evening while watching the news. It's how he relaxes. He's been noticing that his short-term memory is getting worse, and his wife says he's become more irritable. He feels tired all the time, even though he's getting a full 8 hours in bed. Robert would never connect these feelings to his evening ritual. He thinks his nightly whiskeys are his reward, his therapy. He doesn't realize that this habit is shrinking his hippocampus, sabotaging his sleep quality, and slowly but surely, accelerating his cognitive decline. So, what is the actionable advice here? It's about honest self-assessment and moderation. The current recommendations often suggest no more than 1 drink per day for women and no more than 2 for men. However, for brain health, particularly after 60, the evidence points towards even less being better. Consider implementing dry days during the week. Maybe alcohol is reserved for social occasions on the weekend only. If you do drink, avoid it within 3 to 4 hours of bedtime to protect your sleep. The goal is to shift your mindset from seeing alcohol as a daily coping mechanism to seeing it as a sometimes treat, giving your brain the protection and the restorative sleep it so desperately needs. All right, we've spent enough time in the shadows. Let's bring in the light. Our first brain-boosting hero is a humble, ancient beverage that has been a cornerstone of health and mindfulness in Eastern cultures for thousands of years: green tea. This isn't just a trendy health drink. It is one of the most well-researched and powerful tools you can use to protect and enhance your cognitive function. Its magic lies in a unique combination of compounds that work in perfect synergy to create a state of what I like to call calm alertness. The first, and perhaps most fascinating, of these compounds is an amino acid called L-theanine. You won't find it in coffee or other teas in such significant amounts. L-theanine is remarkable. Think of it as a skilled orchestra conductor for your brain. Now, green tea does contain some caffeine, which we can think of as the orchestra itself, a source of powerful energy. In coffee, that orchestra often plays without a conductor. You get a loud, sometimes chaotic blast of energy that can leave you feeling jittery, anxious, and then leads to a crash. L-theanine, our conductor, steps in and harnesses that caffeine energy. It directs it, smooths it out, and transforms the potential noise into a beautiful, focused symphony. It ensures the energy is used productively, without the anxiety or the jitters. This is why so many people report that a cup of green tea gives them sustained mental energy and focus, not a frantic, heart-pounding buzz. Scientifically, L-theanine does this by increasing the activity of the inhibitory neurotransmitter GABA, which has anti-anxiety effects. It also boosts alpha brain waves. Alpha waves are the brain waves you produce when you are in a state of wakeful relaxation, like when you're meditating, daydreaming peacefully, or fully engrossed in a creative hobby. It's the ideal state for learning, problem-solving, and clear thinking. So, by drinking green tea, you are literally encouraging your brain to enter its optimal state for focus. But that's only half the story. Green tea is also packed with powerful antioxidants, most notably a type of polyphenol called EGCG, or epigallocatechin gallate. That's a mouthful, I know, so just think of EGCG as your brain's personal bodyguard. Every day, your brain cells are under attack from unstable molecules called free radicals. This process is called oxidative stress. The best analogy is rust. Just as oxygen and water can cause a car to rust and decay over time, oxidative stress causes our cells, including our brain cells, to rust and break down. This cellular rust is a major contributor to age-related cognitive decline and neurodegenerative diseases like Alzheimer's and Parkinson's. The EGCG in green tea is a potent anti-rust agent. It neutralizes these damaging free radicals, forming a protective shield around your precious neurons. It helps to quell that low-grade inflammation we talked about earlier, the kind that sugary drinks promote. So with every cup, you are not only sharpening your focus in the moment, but you are also playing the long game, actively defending your brain against the slow, silent decay of time. Let's go back to that 3 p.m. slump. We imagined reaching for a soda and feeling that jolt and subsequent crash. Now, let's imagine a different choice. You feel that familiar fog rolling in. This time, you take a few minutes to mindfully prepare a warm cup of green tea. You sit down, you breathe in the grassy, pleasant aroma. As you drink it, there's no sudden jolt. Instead, over the next 20 minutes, you notice the fog gently begins to lift. It's like the sun burning through a morning mist. Your mind feels clearer, quieter. You can turn your attention to the crossword puzzle or the letter you were writing, and the words come more easily. You feel alert, but calm. Centered. That is the beautiful work of L-theanine and EGCG. To get the most out of your green tea, a little technique helps. Don't pour boiling water directly over the leaves, as it can scorch them and destroy some of the delicate, beneficial compounds. Let the water cool for a minute or two after it boils. Aim for about 175 degrees Fahrenheit or 80 Celsius. Let it steep for about 3 minutes. 2 to 3 cups a day is a wonderful goal. Our next brain-boosting hero might surprise you. It's not an exotic herb or a rare supplement. It's a humble root vegetable that stains your hands but can truly revitalize your mind, the beet. Specifically, I'm talking about beet juice. This vibrant, ruby-red liquid is a powerhouse for improving one of the most critical factors for cognitive vitality, blood flow. To understand its power, we need to talk about a molecule called nitric oxide. Nitric oxide is a vasodilator. That's a fancy word, but the concept is very simple. Imagine your circulatory system, your arteries and blood vessels, is a network of garden hoses. As we age, these hoses can become a bit stiff and narrower, making it harder for water to get through. Nitric oxide acts like a signal that tells these hoses to relax and widen, allowing more blood to flow through freely and with less pressure. This is fantastic for lowering blood pressure, but it's absolutely critical for your brain. Your brain, remember, is incredibly demanding. It needs a constant, rich supply of oxygen and nutrient-rich blood to function. When blood flow is restricted, brain cells don't get the fuel they need. This can lead to that feeling of mental slowness, difficulty concentrating, and over the long term, it significantly increases the risk of vascular dementia and cognitive decline. So where does beet juice fit in? Beets are packed with natural compounds called dietary nitrates. When you drink beet juice, your body converts these nitrates into that miracle molecule, nitric oxide. You are essentially drinking the raw material that allows your body to open up the floodgates of circulation directly to your brain. And the research here is particularly exciting. Studies using MRI scans have shown that after drinking beet juice, blood flow specifically increases to the brain's frontal lobe. Why is that important? The frontal lobe is your brain's CEO. It's the area responsible for what we call executive functions. Your ability to make good decisions, to plan for the future, to organize tasks, and to maintain your focus. These are the very skills that are essential for maintaining our independence and managing our daily lives. So when you drink beet juice, you are selectively sending a rush of oxygen-rich blood to the part of your brain that helps you stay sharp, organized, and in control. Let's picture a common scenario. Imagine a man named Frank. Frank used to be an accountant, and he always took pride in his sharp mind for numbers. But lately, when he sits down to do his taxes or even just balance his checkbook, it feels like an enormous chore. The numbers seem to swim on the page. He has to read everything 2 or 3 times. It's not that he can't do it, it just requires so much more effort. He feels like he's trying to drive a car with the parking brake partially engaged. That feeling is, in essence, reduced blood flow. His brain's CEO is being starved of resources. Now imagine Frank starts incorporating a small glass of beet juice into his morning routine a few times a week. He might not notice a dramatic change on day one. But over a few weeks, he might sit down with his paperwork and find that it just flows a little better. The numbers seem a bit clearer. The task doesn't feel quite as monumental. The parking brake feels like it's been released. He is experiencing, in a very real way, the benefit of improved cerebral blood flow. He is literally nourishing his frontal lobe. Now, I know what some of you might be thinking. The taste. Beet juice has a very earthy flavor that isn't for everyone. The key is to not force it. You can make it much more palatable by juicing it with other things you enjoy. A classic combination is beet, apple, and carrot. A little bit of ginger can also add a wonderful, spicy kick. If you're buying it pre-made, just be vigilant about checking the label to ensure there are no added sugars, otherwise you'll be defeating the purpose. And a quick, practical note, don't be alarmed if you notice a pink or red tinge in your urine or stool afterwards. This is a harmless and very common phenomenon called beeturia. I actually tell my patients to see it as a good sign. It's visual confirmation that those powerful beet compounds are making their way through your system. We have talked about sophisticated compounds like L-theanine and powerful processes like vasodilation. But our final and most essential brain-boosting hero is the one we so often take for granted. It is the very substance of life itself. Plain, simple, life-giving water. If green tea is the brain's conductor and beet juice is the highway system, then water is the very river of life that flows through it all. Without it, everything grinds to a halt. Let this fact sink in for a moment. Your brain is composed of about 75% water. It is, for all intents and purposes, a soft, water-based gelatinous organ floating in a watery fluid. Every single electrical impulse, every connection between neurons, every thought and every memory happens in this aqueous environment. When we don't drink enough water, we become dehydrated, and the effects on the brain are immediate and profound. First, even mild dehydration can cause your brain to physically shrink. I want you to really visualize that. Your brain tissue literally loses volume and pulls away from your skull. It's no wonder that one of the first and most common symptoms of dehydration is a headache. But this shrinkage also makes it much harder for your brain to do its job. It impairs short-term memory, focus, and your ability to make decisions. Your brain is under physical stress, and its performance plummets. Second, dehydration directly affects the blood flow we work so hard to improve with beet juice. Our blood is over 90% water. When you're dehydrated, your blood volume decreases and it becomes thicker, more viscous. Think about trying to suck a thick milkshake through a thin straw versus easily sipping water. Dehydrated blood is like that milkshake. Your heart has to work much harder to pump this sluggish, thick blood through your arteries and up into the delicate microvessels of the brain. The result is a significant drop in the delivery of oxygen and critical nutrients. So, even if you're doing everything else right, being dehydrated can create a low oxygen state in the brain, suffocating its ability to think clearly and function optimally. Finally, and this is critically important, water is essential for your brain's nightly cleaning crew. While you sleep, a remarkable process called the glymphatic system kicks into gear. It flushes cerebrospinal fluid, which is mostly water, through your brain to clear out metabolic waste and toxic proteins that build up during the day, including the infamous beta-amyloid plaques associated with Alzheimer's disease. Think of it as a power wash for your brain. But this system is entirely dependent on having sufficient water. If you are dehydrated, this cleaning process is inefficient. The toxins don't get cleared away effectively. Night after night of this can lead to a dangerous accumulation of waste, contributing directly to long-term cognitive decline. Let's imagine a lovely woman. We'll call her Carol. She starts her day with a cup of coffee. She might have a small glass of juice with lunch. She doesn't really drink much else because, as she says, she just doesn't feel thirsty anymore. By mid-afternoon, she feels wiped out. She gets a dull, persistent headache and feels a bit foggy and irritable. When she stands up from her favorite chair, she often feels a moment of dizziness. Carol chalks all of this up to her age, or her blood pressure, or a dozen other things. She would never think, "I'm just thirsty." But that's exactly what her brain is screaming. That fatigue, that headache, that brain fog, it's the equivalent of a wilting houseplant. Its leaves are drooping, it looks tired and sad. What's the first thing you do? You give it water. And within an hour, it perks right back up, standing tall and vibrant. Your brain works in precisely the same way. The challenge is that as we age, our thirst mechanism becomes less reliable. We can be significantly dehydrated without ever feeling thirsty. So we cannot wait for the signal. We have to be proactive. Make hydration a conscious ritual. Start your day with a large glass of water before your coffee or tea. Keep a dedicated water pitcher on the counter and make it your goal to finish it by the end of the day. If you're worried about nighttime trips to the bathroom, front-load your hydration. Drink plenty in the morning and afternoon, and then taper off a few hours before bed. If plain water is boring, infuse it with lemon, cucumber, or mint. And remember, you can eat your water, too, with hydrating foods like watermelon, celery, and oranges. This isn't about forcing down gallons of water. It's about consistent, steady hydration that keeps your brain plump, your blood flowing freely, and your nightly cleaning crew working at peak efficiency. It is the foundation upon which all other brain health strategies are built. So, here we are. We've journeyed through the good, the bad, and the bubbly. We've unmasked the villains hiding in plain sight. The sugary sodas creating inflammation and starving our brain cells, the deceptive diet drinks disrupting our gut and our brain chemistry, and the excessive alcohol that sabotages our precious memory and sleep. What do they all have in common? They take from us. They disrupt natural processes, they create chaos and stress at a cellular level, and they accelerate the very wear and tear we are all trying to fight. But then, we met our heroes. The elegant green tea, with its unique ability to foster a state of calm, focused energy while protecting our brain cells from rust. The vibrant beet juice, a master of infrastructure, opening up the vital highways to deliver life-giving blood flow to our brain's command center. And of course, the most fundamental hero of all, pure water, the very medium of thought, the cleanser of our minds. What is their common thread? They give back. They nourish, they protect, they facilitate, and they restore. I hope what you see now is that this isn't about a list of rules. This is about a profound choice that you get to make every single day. The choice between disruption and harmony, between cellular stress and cellular support, between passively accepting decline and actively building a more resilient, vibrant brain. The power of this knowledge is not in feeling guilty about the past, about the sodas or drinks you've enjoyed for years. Not at all. The power is in the present. It's in the very next glass you choose to fill. It's in the quiet, consistent decisions you make in your own kitchen. Every time you choose a glass of water over a soda, you are casting a vote for your future self. Every time you brew a cup of green tea, you are performing a small, sacred act of self-preservation. This is where your control lies. Not in complex theories or expensive programs, but in the simple, repeatable actions that, day by day, build a fortress of health around your mind, ensuring it remains a place of clarity, joy, and cherished memories for all the years to come. If you found this conversation valuable today, please take a moment to click the like button. It's more than just a thumbs up. It's a signal to others, and to the wider community, that this is information that matters. Your single click can help this video find its way to another person who needs to hear this message. And if you haven't already, please subscribe and join our community. We have so much more to explore together on this journey of aging with strength and vitality. Thank you for your time and your trust today. Until next time, drink well, think clearly, and be well.